Come on, Team Cowboys!
Angry Cowboys fan, are you down to ride? Angry Cowboys fan, are you down to ride? Drop a like on the video, go ahead and subscribe.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. And as I was watching some Dallas Cowboys content on YouTube, I stumbled across the Rich Eisen Show where they were discussing the most recent press conference from Brian Schottenheimer. In said interview, Brian Schottenheimer said something about Dak Prescott that a lot of talking heads took and ran with, once again trying to paint our QB1 of the Dallas Cowboys in a bad light. You could tell that this is the dead zone between the draft and training camp because talking heads tend to make something out of nothing when they're looking for stories to report on. So we're going to take a listen to the 3 clips that I got for y'all, and y'all know what we're going to do after that. We're going to come back and unpack this raw and uncut. So, Angry Cowboys fans, let's take a listen to the clip that has created controversy around the National Football League.
Milton, is he more in the, because he just got in the league last year, he more in the developmental phase in terms of how you're trying to get him to grow?
I think they all are. I mean, I think Dak is in the developmental phase, and that sounds crazy for a guy that's played that much, but like there's things that we're tweaking with Dak, so I don't think it's just for Joe. Joe is a guy that we obviously know all about the talent, but the system that he came from in Tennessee, created some challenges in terms of just what he has to learn and things like that. But the minute these quarterbacks think that they've figured it all out, that's when it's probably time for them to think about doing something different, because the way defenses attack in this league, it makes it almost impossible to ever relax.
Cowboys Nation, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out what Brian Schottenheimer is trying to say when it comes to the quarterback situation in Dallas. The talking heads want to talk about the development of Joe Milton, and Schotty informed them that Dak is also developing under the current coaching regime. The vultures of the media took this soundbite and went off to have a field day with it. You can see how thirsty these analysts get for the Dallas Cowboys headlines. Now, jumping into the second clip that I got for y'all, Rich Eisen and crew discussed the meaning behind what Brian Schottenheimer is trying to convey. So let's go ahead and take a listen so we can come back and talk about it. Roll the clip.
Potentially a learning curve moment. A learning, when somebody is bringing up a newly acquired backup quarterback to a head coach, you don't just say he's developing, but so is our $60 million a year quarterback.
So let me ask you this. If Schottenheimer had said something to the effect of Dak is great, he's fine, he doesn't need any development, he's good, we're going to roll with him, the pushback would have been like, well, he's never won anything. Look at his postseason record. No, that would have been.
TJ, he was asked about the backup. And an example, he then mentions how his $60 million a year quarterback is still developing himself. And a lot of folks are wondering, what the hell is he talking about?
See, that's what I'm talking about, TJ. Every talking head would have taken the fact that Brian Schottenheimer said nothing was wrong with Dak Prescott and tried to pick it apart with every little thing that was wrong with Dak Prescott's game up to this point. They do it without having these little sound bites from the organization and the head coach. What would stop them from doing it then? I will say this. Rich Eisen is right about one thing, Cowboys Nation. If Dak wasn't mentioned, don't mention him. Even if you think it's going to try to boost up your backup quarterback. To the talking heads, sure, you're propping up your backup quarterback, but at the expense of your starting quarterback. We'll talk about that more during this raw and uncut portion, so make sure you stick around for that. But in the last clip, Rich Eisen tells the real when it comes to this story. So let's go ahead and take a listen so we can come back and unpack this raw and uncut.
That's another way to put it.
Well, he also had a coach who wasn't in his first year and not a whole lot of experience talking in front of media types.
So this is much ado about nothing when it all comes down to it. When it all comes down to it. But I would just counsel the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys to just, when he mentions Dak Prescott, talk about how he's going to win Super Bowls. Because no one would fault him for that.
All right, but you do realize the amount of pushback and crap he would take.
Why?
You know, Cowboys Nation, Rich Eisen asked why Brian Schottenheimer would get pushback if he told the media that Dak Prescott was 100% ready to go when he wasn't. You know what, Cowboys Nation? Let's get into it. Y'all ready for this raw and uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. This is one of the biggest non-stories of the 2025 NFL offseason. Oh my goodness, Brian Schottenheimer said that Dak Prescott's still developing. Well, Cowboys Nation, you can tell that this league has absolutely no idea what developing means. See, the superficial fan only sees developing as a rookie phase of the game, or in any game for that matter. The thing is, I consider developing for professional athletes kind of like changing for the regular everyday human being. Are you ever done changing? Are you ever done evolving? Are you ever done bettering yourself? If you are, then you have some more figuring out to do in life, Cowboys Nation. But speaking for myself, I will never stop changing myself for the better. The time I stop doing that is the time that I stop breathing and you put me 6 feet under. Each day I am shown something that I can work on to better myself as a human being, and I'm pretty sure that athletes think the same way. There's always something that an athlete can work on to better their game. There's always room to grow as a human being and as an athlete. But don't say that about your QB1 because people will take it the wrong way, Cowboys Nation. But I will say that Rich Eisen was right about one thing. If you're gonna prop up your backup quarterback, don't do it at the expense of your starting quarterback. I mean, I get it, Cowboys Nation. He wanted to use Dak Prescott as an example, but he kind of threw Dak Prescott under the bus when it comes to that simpleton in the sports media atmosphere. One thing you don't want to do is give these people a story to run with unless it's a story about winning. When you give them a nugget, they will blow it out of proportion to make something out of nothing in order to get the headlines, clicks, and ratings. And you know that they're looking for any type of story when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. But I just can't believe how thirsty the media is for this juicy story about the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I understand NFL fans and media are stuck in Death Valley between the NFL draft and training camp, but let's dig a little deeper to find some informative stories. Stories that will educate the audience and not ignite drama within the fan base. Now, this clip has everyone talking negatively about how Dak Prescott needs to develop almost 10 years into the damn league, Cowboys Nation. But I wish these talking heads would think outside the box and not grab at the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to creating their narratives. Thinking outside of the box will inform you that everyone is in development mode throughout their career or life in general. Striving to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. Continuing to hone in on your skills so that you can be the best version of yourself today. Working tirelessly to improve your abilities and to perfect your craft. This is what true development means, Cowboys Nation. Seeing that the National Football League and a lot of its fans have forgotten what the true meaning of development actually means. And just because you make it to the league doesn't mean that you could just sit back and become complacent and not try to work on anything. You think that way? And you'll be benched quick, fast, and in a hurry. Never settle for complacency and always strive for change. Never give up bettering yourself and continuing to develop anything in your life which needs attention. This press conference was a learning experience for our head coach. So, Shotty, let's not give these talking heads any type of bulletin board material to run with no matter what type of praise you're trying to give your players. Talking heads will twist it in any direction in order to squeeze it for its last bit of relevancy to gain views. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. What do you feel about what Brian Schottenheimer had to say about Joe Milton III? What's your take on him saying that Dak Prescott is still developing? Y'all know how we do it. We always talk about it in the comments section. But if you're digging this content and want to help the Angry Cowboys Fan continue to grow past 10,000 subscribers, drop a like on this video and share it with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan. If you are DC for life and you can see through the BS when it comes to the stories these talking heads try to peddle, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, film breakdown, or Madden 25 or college football 25 gameplay. Cowboys Nation, you're watching a person that's all about developing on and off the field in my later years of life. Change is one of the most important things a person can do in their lives, just like how developing is the key to the success and longevity of an athlete. While the talking heads try to make something out of nothing, Brian Schottenheimer and the Dallas Cowboys will continue to develop in hopes of making something great happen this year. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.